my channel. This is my cat, George. He's so cute. He's a little baby. He's not even a year old. Say hi, George. My husband named him after George Harrison because he loves him. Okay, anyways, so today I'm gonna show you guys how I do my brows. That's like the one thing that I think I've ever gotten an actual request to do before. I have come very far in my makeup journey, but my brows are definitely the one thing I am the most proud about of anything else that I've done. Super proud of my brows. I'm gonna show you today how I do them in two different ways. I'm gonna do one way that's like the flaky like Instagram version that I usually do, I will admit, and then the other way I'm going to show you is a little bit softer version. What I use for my more softer, like an everyday eyebrow look is this little 2-color compact from Peak Beauty. It's called Espresso, that's the color. I actually think that I just saw on their Instagram that they're coming out with a couple other colors soon, but this is the one that I received from the Ipsy Generation Beauty. At first I was skeptical because the colors are 2 different shades of brown. I was like, my hair's not that dark. But when you kind of blend the 2 colors together, you can kind of create an in-between color very easily. I think that they're actually really good colors. So I'll do that on this brow here. I've got my Anastasia brush for eyebrows. I have no idea what it's called. Like, I completely rubbed the label off. I'm gonna brush my brows first, just so I can kind of see the shape they're creating for me today. It's not always the same shape every day, I have to tell you. Like, when you look at my pictures, they're kind of different every day that I do them. I don't know why, it's just like whatever they end up being that day. I'm gonna try and sit close here so you can see. So the key to a good eyebrow is to start light and build your way up, or darker if you want it that way. I live on a noisy road and I feel like today it's way especially loud. So first I'm gonna use the lighter color and mostly apply it to the front of my brow. I usually go along the bottom first and try and create like a nice even straight line. Fill in with the little scraggly parts here in the front. Actually really annoying. This eyebrow, the hairs right here in the front grow like, they like curve in, and on this one they grow like straight up. And it makes me like really tempted to pluck the ones on the edge on this brow because they're so gnarly and ugly. But I know that if I do, then I'm gonna have like one eyebrow that starts like way out here and one that's just gonna start like here, and that's not gonna work. So I just try really hard to not look at them and leave them alone. And I'm gonna work my way back here. I'm still using the lighter color, kind of even filling in the tail a little bit with it. But I'm definitely gonna go through with the darker one in a minute. Like I said, I'm mostly focusing on the bottom line, but then just kind of filling it in throughout as well. Also the top, I feel like I don't have a very straight edge on top, especially on this brow. There's like a chunk missing. Okay, so I feel like I've got it relatively well filled in with the lighter color. Now I'm gonna have to go through with the darker one and mostly focus on cleaning up the bottom line, making it as straight as I can, and then filling out the tail and making that a little bit darker. I will put a little bit of the darker color towards the front, but I try to go in really lightly with that because I like my brows to look more natural, and they thin out towards the front, you know what I mean? So I don't want to make a dark like line where my brow starts. So I'm only just using a little bit of the darker color and mostly along the bottom here and just kind of fading one color into the other, but I definitely don't want to make it really dark in the front. And of course periodically I will just brush them out, mostly to keep the shape while I'm going, but also kind of to like brush the color so it will blend well with itself. So that's it, I think, at least for the powder. It looks pretty good. Then I take the Benefit Cosmetics Gimme Brow Eyebrow Gel. It's technically a brow volumizing fiber gel, and it kind of just sets the brows, and also, as it says, gives a little bit more volume and definition to the individual hairs. I use shade 3. They have shades 1, 3, and 5, so this is the middle color. It just looks like a little mascara wand here, and you just brush it on. Some days, if I'm really lazy or just feeling a super natural look, I'll only use this brow gel and I won't use any other product on my brow, but that definitely doesn't really help to fill in any blank patches that I have in my brows. Like this one I was talking about, it kind of bugs me, like I have to just accept the fact that they're gonna look natural when I only use this. Like I can't fill in little pieces that are missing, but it still looks good even on its own. So now to finish this brow up, I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Like I said, I'm kind of going for a more natural look, but I'm still gonna kind of clean it up with my Born This Way Naturally Radiant Concealer from Too Faced, and I use shade Light. I also have this little brush from Vera Mona that I use to apply it with, and I just kind of get a little bit on my brush here and just kind of put it on the top and the bottom and blend it, just in case I made it a little bit messy at all. Okay, so that is my more natural, softer brow with my brow powder from Peak Beauty. Okay, so I kind of paused for a minute to look at the video that I had done so far and realized that I'm kind of half off the screen, so I tried to adjust my mirror here so you can see me a little bit better. I still don't really know the best place to put it so that you can see me and I can see the mirror, but we'll see. So for my other brow, I'm gonna use my trusty, yes, you've heard it before, Anastasia Dip Brow Pomade. This is my all-time fave. I use this basically every day, because you can honestly create a more natural look with this anyways, just don't use as much. But then it is, I mean, it's very thick and creamy, so you can definitely make it super dark if you want to. So that's probably more what I'm gonna be doing with this one. Like I said earlier, it's better to start out light and then you can build it up as you go. So I'm gonna use not a whole lot. I'm just tapping it on my brush here. Sometimes I do use the lid and kind of wipe it off and make sure I get like a nice even coat on here. I'm gonna start about mid-brow at the bottom and just try and create a nice straight line. The reason why I usually start in the middle is because, I mean, I'm pretty good at gauging how much I've got on my brush. I'm used to using this now, but just in case like I accidentally put on way more than I thought I did, I don't want to start right on the edge and then all of a sudden it's super dark and now it's going to be hard to take off. So I always start kind of in the middle, and then I'll eventually probably work my way towards the front once I know that I'm kind of getting rid of some of the product on my brush, because I only want to put the lightest amount on the front. I see a lot of people doing like this whole deal where they're like going up and they're like, oh, create natural brush strokes so that your hairs look natural in the front or whatever. That does not work for me. I mean, maybe if you had like a whole stinking lot on your brush, then if you swiped, yeah, it's gonna make a giant dark solid line, but I've never really been able to make it look like individual hair strokes. Like, I just kind of blob it on, whatever. If you do get too much, like I feel like I just did, you can brush it, and it does, I mean, it kind of wipes off if you use the brush, the spoolie part of it. And then I can just build more in. I definitely do not have like a one and done application for my brows. It's kind of like I put some on, I take some off, I put some on, take some off until I have like the perfect look, because I'm kind of a perfectionist, but I'm also kind of sloppy, so it takes a while. Again, I'm just trying to create a nice blend where it's a little lighter in the front, but I want to kind of fade it into the darker part of my brow without it being like a stark line. And now, especially with the gel, as I'm going along, it looks like a child who has colored outside of the lines. I just try to not let it bother me. As long as the product is where I want it to be on my actual brow, I will clean up the edges later because it does not look good when I'm just like immediately done with this. That's why we use the concealer. I don't know how those girls do it where they just go like whoosh whoosh and like it's a perfect tail. I don't know. I have to like create the tail out of concealer. Okay, so now is the fun part where if you are missing hair or anything, you can pretty easily fake it with the dip brow pomade. As opposed to with powder, sometimes it looks a little funky just because you're just putting powder on your skin. It doesn't always fake the look very well. But with this, you can kind of fake that there's hair there a little more naturally, I guess, or believably. So with this, like, I don't really have as nice of an arch on this side. It kind of just rounds off. So I do kind of make a little bit more of an arch. I do use a little more product for the tail. Okay, so as of now, this looks like a disastrous fuzzy mess, but this is the part where you really see my brow come to life. More of the concealer and my brush here. I'm gonna kind of carve out this brow. As far as the tail goes, if I'm trying to taper it out, I do usually take more off the bottom than the top because I don't want some gnarly thing that's like going down like half my face. I would rather be more of a straight end, so if I have to take anything off of the tail, I usually take it off the bottom and then kind of meet it wherever it, you know, it meets the top. And then I might go back with the brush and kind of draw it a little bit more. I mean, you can make it go as long as you want as far as the tail goes, but I tend not to go too far past where my natural hair stopped growing. Even after I have used the concealer, I sometimes do go back with just a little bit more of the cream and maybe just wherever I carved out the concealer line, just make it nice and straight. And even though I obviously don't need it for like the sake of making it darker, I still do use the Gimme Brow just to kind of set the hairs in place. So that's basically it for that one, my darker dip brow pomade brow. When I'm all the way finished, I do usually put some highlighter above and beneath, like mostly the arch. I'm gonna use my Forever 21 highlighter. Actually, I do really like this one. It's from my video that I did where I had a full face of Forever 21 makeup. I actually used this highlighter on my face today. I am a fan, believe it or not. It's honestly really not bad. If you are new to eyebrows and you're thinking, oh my goodness, I'll never be able to do this, this looks so intense, and she makes it look super easy. Fact, it took me forever to get to this point, and my early brows were super not attractive, and it still takes me like half an hour if I'm being a perfectionist to make them match and stuff, because that's just me, and it's not as easy as it might look just in my super glam Instagram photos. Also, like, this is me sitting normal. As you can tell, I really don't have that much of an arch in my eyebrows, especially when I do it like a more natural look. Every single Instagram picture that I post, I'm like, I definitely raise my brows. I do not have that much of an arch in real life, but I mean, I feel like everyone does that. And that's how I do my eyebrows every day, one or the other, not usually both on the same face, but take your pick. The tips that I have for you for eyebrows are, as I mentioned before, start light and build as you go along. Definitely do not put as much product towards the front of your brow as you do the back. Always want to carve out your brow with concealer when you're finished, otherwise you're left with a fuzzy looking brow that kind of is lacking definition in shape. And also, when you are done, use a nice highlighter below and above your arch to kind of give it a little bit more of a glow. Comment below, tell me which one you like better. I'm interested to hear your feedback. Also, if you have any other suggestions for videos you want me to do in the future, definitely let me know. If you like my video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe if you are interested. Thanks again for watching my eyebrow tutorial. Thanks guys, see you later.